Have you ever seen The Prince of Egypt? Such a classic. If you have, or if you've ever read the story of Exodus, then you're familiar that our Lord freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt by sending 10 plagues down upon the Egyptians, and the 10th and final plague was the worst plague. In this plague, the angel of death would sweep over Egypt, killing every firstborn human and animal unless you did 5 things. Unless you took an unblemished male lamb, 1-year-old, in other words, in the prime of its life, slaughtered that lamb on the 14th day of the month of Nisan, sprinkled its blood over your doorpost with a hyssop branch, ate the flesh of that lamb with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, and then kept that day as a day of remembrance. If you did these 5 things, then the angel of death would pass over your home and you'd be freed from slavery. This is the original Passover. But in Exodus 12, the Passover sacrifice is not complete without eating the flesh of the lamb. And in 1 Corinthians 5, St. Paul refers to Jesus as the Passover lamb. And if we look at our Lord's passion, these same 5 criteria are present. Not only is Jesus an unblemished male, free from the stain of sin, in the prime of his life, but St. John in his gospel takes note that the 2 victims crucified next to Jesus had their legs broken, but our Lord's remained untouched. In other words, he had no broken bones. St. John in his gospel also takes note that our Lord's passion took place on the 14th day of the month of Nisan at the 6th hour. At the same hour that all the Passover lambs would be led to Jerusalem to be slaughtered, our Lord is being led to the hill of Calvary to be slaughtered. And St. John also takes note that on the cross, our Lord is offered wine on a hyssop branch. In other words, a hyssop branch spreads across the doorpost of the cross, and now we have to eat the flesh of this new Passover lamb. When Jesus says, "Do this in remembrance of me," he's not saying to do this as a symbol of me, but to keep this as a day of remembrance, just as the Israelites kept the original Passover as a day of remembrance. And we do that by eating his flesh. The Eucharist is the flesh of the new Passover lamb.